Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chrissy Matheson, and I'll be your moderator for today's press briefing. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce Jeff McClellan, who's Nova Scotia's Minister of Business and Minister of Trade, who will share a few words with us. Go ahead, Minister.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for being here. Obviously, I think the word's out a little bit via social media, so it's not a complete shock for everyone, but that is what it is, and that's okay. I just want to take a few minutes to share my intentions with the people of Glace Bay, my family, and all Nova Scotians. It's come to the point I've had a incredible journey with Stephen, first and foremost, but as a member of government representing the community that I live in, that I love, that I'll die in. It's been remarkable, and I'm very proud to think back over my almost 11 years. It's been tough, without a doubt. The toughest days of my life, many days, but very enriching, rewarding, and the fact that I had the opportunity for over a decade to serve the people that I respect and who I am as a Glace Bay boy has been something I could never replace and would never take back, and I don't regret a moment, and I wouldn't change it for anything. So it's want to make it official that I will not be reoffering for the position of MLA in Glace Bay when the next provincial election is called. Again, to be very clear, fortunately, I'm not sick. There's no scandal. There's no backstory here. It's absolutely time. I've never been so sure of anything than I am about this decision. I'm incredibly excited. This is very hard. This is very sad. Thinking back of all my relationships with caucus colleagues, with staff at the various departments, certainly my relationship with Stephen, this feels like it's the end of the road, so to speak, and I came in with the boss, and I want to formally have this closure that I'm going out with the boss before he leaves this week. Again, it's a type of position that, quite frankly, I've said this before, it's very hard to find balance. If you're really good at this job, there's a pretty good chance that other parts of your life suffer. I feel as though I've given 100% every single day, physically, mentally, emotionally. I just don't, there's no way to take a day off. If you're good at this, it wears you down and can be very draining. Very rewarding, not complaining. Again, I wouldn't trade it, but it takes a lot. And I think that someone who has the honor and privilege to represent a community has to be able to recognize when it's time for them to take a different direction for the community in some cases, for themselves, and lots of times it's both. For me, there's just a very specific people and topics I want to cover before I get to questions, but the first one, making this decision, there's a number of different factors, and I know there'll be questions about, you know, what was the driving force and why I'm here today doing this. Without a doubt, the number one reason are my two kids, Georgia, who's 9, and Daniel, who's 7. Also close to them is my niece, Nadera, and nephew, Liam. Those kids don't know me. as Jeff McClellan, not the politician. They weren't born. So for me, that it's really important that they actually know their dad as a person, because they don't. They love me and I love them, and we've done great things and we have a tremendous relationship. But even when I'm there, I'm not there all the way a lot of times. And, you know, to take them to the beach and have a hot Saturday afternoon at the beach, and all I'm thinking about is who I have to call on Monday and what meetings I have and what I've missed, and, you know, who's going to be upset that I didn't return an email, and, you know, what are the speeches I've got coming up. So it's impossible to be present, again, if you get locked into this job and it's your focus. I want them to know their dad fully and be able to commit 100%. So when we're with each other, it's me, and it's not a version of me that's looking at my phone or trying to get a conference call in before I pick them up. I want to be fully there, and it's time, and they deserve that, and I really look forward to that, and that really begins today. And they're old enough to understand the impact of the pressure, and they're going to be happy too. So that's first and foremost in my heart. Glace Bay is a remarkable place to grow up. As I got older, I realized that as far as value of teaching and understanding the way the world works, I just couldn't picture growing up in a better place. You got to be tough. There's no two ways about it. You see things, and things happen to people, and you have experiences that you just don't get anywhere else. And to have the privilege to represent them for almost 11 years is something that I cherish every day, and I'll cherish forever, because that's who I am, and that's what I do. And it's a difficult riding to represent, in the sense that there's no free lunch. You can't just go through the motions and do some press releases and show up at some fundraisers and that's it. They want you there and present and delivering and making an impact, and that's what I tried to do. Even those who may not agree with me or with my politics would have to say it's undeniable that Glace Bay is in a better place now than it was 11 years ago. From the hospital education perspective, the schools, the road infrastructure, the Savoy, the South Street ball field, so many different ways in terms of investments in education policy, investing in social programs. We're in way better shape than we give ourselves credit for, and that speaks to the island as well as my community. We're not dying, we're going in the right direction. There's a positive future for our home, and that goes for all Nova Scotia. So I'm happy that I made that contribution while I could, and it's time to move on from that. But I'm grateful for the way people have stepped up for me and defended me and protected me in my hometown when times were tough. There was lots of difficult things that we had to do that, again, I don't regret, but I wish they didn't have to happen. But that's the reality of government, especially when you want to have an impact. You have to have the courage to follow through, and that obviously impacted my personal relationships at home and impacted overall my support and the number of people who were there from start to finish. But that's democracy, and I'm proud, and I'll certainly, when I drive into Glace Bay this evening, I have my head very high at where we are now. That certainly speaks for Cape Breton as well, not just on the investments, although with the healthcare investments, the NSCC, all of those government-related injections that we did are great, but we're just in a better place overall, and that's not about government, and it's not about our success. That's the people. That's the collective effort to pick ourselves up and address the issues that are affecting Cape Bretoners, and we've supported that and helped that to the best of our abilities. But it's about how the island has responded to the challenges we've seen over the last couple decades and before that. So we're in a great place, in my opinion, and I think I'm leaving it in good hands. And I know there's even better days to come. With respect to our government, I don't know how I could make a list of the things that we've done that stand out for me over the others. From the economic performance and where we are as an economy, we went from a sleepy little deficit-laden economy to a player on the international scene, the export front, job creation across the board, innovation, the supports and the growth, again, not taking credit as a government, but overall of the tourism sector. We've done some remarkable things together, and our demographic is getting stronger, our population is growing. All of the economic indicators that should be in the right direction are in the right direction because of the leadership of the Premier, of course, Karen, Minister Casey at Finance. We're in a position that we can weather the financial impact of COVID respectfully, as well as anybody else in terms of provinces, territories, and even the federal government. So I'm very proud of our record across the board. What we've done around the Home for Colored Children and that work in trying to right those wrongs or at least address them and have that discussion to recognize what we can do better. The organ donation legislation for me was very powerful. Again, this isn't about politics and votes. This is about people. So we have, in my view, for my own mind and heart, done things that have changed lives to the better, and that's really what government's for. So I'm proud to be part of this legacy. I hope I'm remembered that way. If the connotation around me is that I was part of this administration from 2013 to 2021, I'll take it. And finally, before I turn it over, I just I want to talk about Stephen. I don't have the words to express what I think of him, what I see in him, what he's meant to me over the years. There was two silver linings for COVID for me in the chaos of the COVID impact, socially, economically, from a human life perspective. One was that I had every day for months to spend with my kids, and the second was that people saw Stephen McNeil that we see, the kind, strong leader that believes in people and puts everybody else in front of him, always. And he's always been there for me, and I just wanted to make him proud every day that I was here. So we'll be friends forever, and I love him like he's a member of my family, and I'll always love him. But with respect to the new leader, who I'll certainly play any role they wish before the election, it means a lot to me that I get to officially have this closure today and walk out of here being one of the people that Stephen counted on. So that's really my opening, and I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you, Minister. We'll go to the phones for one question and one follow-up for Minister McClellan. We'll begin with Global's Elizabeth McSheffrey.
Hi, Minister. Well, first of all, congratulations. We'll miss having you around, and you know, that was a really lovely speech. I just wanted to ask whether you know, some of the things that you said. Are you shedding light more on the intensity of being a cabinet minister and all the responsibilities that come with a cabinet role? Or is this the experience, do you feel, for MLAs across the board? Might you have had a different experience if you weren't in cabinet?
That's a great question. I thank you for that. I think it does, and with respect to anyone, that we all handle these types of things differently, I guess, in terms of that intensity and the stress and how it impacts you short term and long term. There's undoubtedly a difference between being an MLA and a cabinet minister. That speaks for itself. It absolutely is an overwhelming workload. Again, not to be sort of touting myself and my commitment to it relative to others, and also I don't want to be complaining that it's that it was unfair stress and burden on me, because that either one of those are the case. This is the job, but I certainly think there's a distinction between when you're in cabinet and you have the enormous responsibilities of running a department, and there's obviously flashpoints in every department, and some are heavier than others, quite frankly. It's a lot, and it's not about praise, or it's not about people showing you how much they appreciate you. It's more about if you're going to do this, you owe people the courtesy and the respect to follow up and be present and do your best to help, whether they're individuals in the constituency or it's at the department level and their stakeholders connected to your particular portfolio. But it wears you down. It absolutely does. Again, I'll never decouple these two things. I enjoyed every day of it, and I appreciate the opportunity that my people in Glace Bay gave me and that Stephen gave me, but I need a break from this. There's no two ways about it. If you try to do your best every day and give it your all, you're going to sacrifice other parts of life. It's just the truth.
Go ahead with your follow-up, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Just more of a technical question. So you'll remain the Minister of Business and then be open to taking on any cabinet role that the new Premier gives you if they do?
Yes, absolutely. That's my commitment, and I'll be here till the next election. So whatever and however I can support the next Premier, I'm there 100%.
Next, we'll go to Keith Doucette with the Canadian Press. Keith, do you have a question for Minister McClellan?
Yes. Congratulations again, Minister McClellan, on your decision. How much of this was the fact that you simply didn't want to continue on in a new capacity with the new government? I know you're staying on to the you're staying on until the election's called, but do you feel like your job is done, that you were just finished? Or is there anything left unfinished that you wish you could stick around to perhaps accomplish?
No, Keith, thanks for that. And no, great point, and I think it sort of it captures where I'm at. I feel like there's always going to be something in this role, and look, in most jobs and positions and careers and in life, there's always something is next that you could have done or you would have liked to be a part of, or initiatives coming up that I'd love to usher in as the Minister of Business or Trade, or things I would have liked to do in the House as the government House leader. But I think I've given it everything I could, and the timing is such that just this makes sense now. There's so many factors that were part of this decision for me. It goes back months. This wasn't something certainly that was a snap, quick call here. This is going way back. Again, kids first and foremost, but there were so many elements in the equation as to how this did or didn't make sense. And Stephen's decision wasn't the deal maker or breaker for me, but it definitely factored in. And when the way you framed that question as being finished and the closure, for me at this point and where my mind is, this is absolutely time to do something else and to try get on a new path, and the timing is just absolutely right. So I don't no regrets, and nothing I feel like is going to be unfinished business when the next election is called.
Keith, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, it's in relation to the timing, Minister McClellan. You kind of hinted at it there, but
more so than any other sector. I'm not saying that this isn't on their radar or that Judy and Darlene and their team at Tie-Ins aren't concerned about it, but it's not one that continues to jump up time and time again recently. So, and I'm certainly not suggesting that they are not concerned about it or ignoring it or anything of that nature, but this isn't something that has bubbled up and that's a massive frustration at this very moment. However, I think that just stemming from this question and they follow closely, so I'm assuming they would have heard this by now, or they'll hear this by the next time we speak, that they will have some insight and some feedback, and we have taken their lead on many things as it relates to the short-term rental market. So if Tie-Ins and other sector players want to make a contribution on how we do this to better represent in terms of that database the number of Airbnb participants out there, we're more than happy to do so. We just want to get this right for them.
Next question will go to all Nova Scotia's Lindsay Armstrong.
Thank you. First off, a big congratulations to you. Wishing you all the best. I'm repeating an old question here, but I'm wondering if there's been any progress in establishing tourism projections for the year.
Tourism, just in terms of, Lindsay, the overall numbers with respect to the revenue, or
Yes.
there's certainly a fresh round that's imminent. I don't know if it's public yet. It obviously, all of our senses and our assumptions is that it'll be in the relative range of the last quarter, which clearly was at a catastrophic level relative to where it was a year ago or a couple of years ago. But I don't have those in front of me, and I don't know if the latest round is finalized yet. But if I can check it, we can get back to you on that one.
Do you have a follow-up, Lindsay?
No, I don't. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Next question will go to the Halifax Examiner's Jennifer Henderson. Jennifer, do you have a question for Minister McClellan?
No, I don't. Just good luck.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Next one will go to Jean Laroche with CBC.
Good afternoon, Minister. Let's hope the Habs organization has room for you somewhere.
Chance, I'm a Leafs guy. I wouldn't go.
Meantime, I wondered, you talked about a lot of things I wish we didn't have to do in your preamble, such as what?
Thanks, Jean. Look, the teachers' relationship, the history with the legislature and the contracts was very difficult. That one in particular changed many relationships for me that still no longer exist present day. That was very hard. It was hard on everybody, and there are things that we did that I wish there was another path. As I said to anyone who asked me at the time, to right now, we did what we thought was right, and I don't regret that decision whatsoever. I think that, when you look at our economic performance, the budget, what we were able to do when we controlled spending and invest back in Nova Scotians, it made a major difference on the lives of many of the people that we serve. So I, again, have family, friends, close connections who are teachers, who are part of unions, of course, healthcare. The union movement is very strong in Glace Bay, and that impacted me politically. But again, I was involved in every conversation. I wasn't a vote because I had to vote. Stephen created an environment where we had our say and we could use our brains and use our what we believe was right, and I always did that and had always had that lens and had that opportunity to have that lens, and I made the decisions that I felt were right, and I agreed with the boss, but they were hard personally.
Jean, do you have a follow-up?
I do. Minister, you said that you would, in response to a question from my colleague, that you were ready to kind of assume whatever role the new leader gives you. But you don't sound like a guy who's keen to take on another cabinet portfolio, given the toll it's taken on your family. So I'm curious to know, what role do you see yourself playing, and how long will you continue to sit at Province House, given, again, the toll it has taken and your desire to go home and be with your kids?
Well, look, I think that it's been 7 years, and you know that's in the political world and at the level and the intensity that it's been, that's a long time. It's not, you know, I still have in me the ability to carry on and again perform the role as required, and I'm happy and honored to do so if that's the case. And again, we're speculating that lots of these decisions are for the next premier, not for me, but I'm going to fulfill my obligations, my duties proudly. First and foremost, as an MLA, I cherish the fact that 3 times my community, my people in the Bay allowed me to do this, and they affected me in a very positive way forever. So I'm grateful, and I'm not just going to you know, leave. I want to make sure I stay on and complete that mission. Same thing as a duty to the province, to Nova Scotians. If the next premier makes that decision around cabinet, I'll fulfill that duty. I'm not just giving up everything today. I'm signaling that I'm not running again. But as long as I'm here, every day I'm here, I'll give it 100%, and I'll be a team player. I believe in that, and again, proud to be one of the few people in the history of this great province to sit at a cabinet table, sit at a treasury board, sit in the Nova Scotia legislature and make a difference. So I'll do that to the best of my ability and capacity until that time comes, and that basically is the next election.
Next question will go to Brian Flynn with All Nova Scotia.
Hi, Minister. I want to add my congratulations. Good for you leaving on your own terms. And I have to say that was the most heartfelt departure speech I've ever heard in politics. So, you know, good on you. I just want to ask, was there a particular turning point in this term when you began looking at the exit?
No, I don't think so, Brian. That's and listen, thank you, and again, likewise, you've been very fair to me, and I appreciate this, and I'm glad you're on the line today. No, there wasn't. It wasn't one thing. I actually would have to think about that for a second, but there was certainly no flashpoint, one moment in time that became apparent. It was something that was in my mind and part of the conversation, and as we got into, I guess, COVID notwithstanding, but that was obviously the focal point of our jobs for pretty close to a year now. But as we got into the spring and the summer, and I was starting to think about what the future looks like, and again, I've referenced here many times and with you directly about the kids, and then when Stephen made his intentions known, those things just began to build for me on the side of it's time to end this journey, and it was really that culmination. It wasn't one thing.
Do you have a follow-up, Brian?
I do, thanks. And I'm sure people will be wondering this. It's probably too early for you to answer it, but I should ask anyway. Just when you're looking at what you're going to do next, how important is it to you to stay in Cape Breton?
I'll always be in Cape Breton. I might have lost a few job opportunities with that one. I don't know, but that's where my kids are, and I'll always be there. I just can't. I'm never going to be separated from them. And also, look, I think that in the world and in the economic world, in the private sector world, Brian, as it was, it became crystal clear that we were moving to a place where you could basically work from anywhere. COVID, as terrible as it was the test case that proved for people that working remotely and doing things from home, as long as you have the technical capabilities and the equipment, is very possible. So I don't think that being clear about my plan to stay in Cape Breton forever will really impact my career. I hope it doesn't. But again, with the opportunities that are out there in the new world, I think that there's a lot of flexibility. But if that reduces my options, then so be it, I guess.
Next, we'll go to Carla Rennick with Global. Carla, do you have a question for Minister McClellan?
Yes, thank you. Congratulations, Minister. What achievements are you most proud of during your time as business minister?
Look, thanks for that question. I highlighted some of them, on the provincial scale. The list is enormous to me. The infrastructure overall with the highways, the hospitals, our schools, the amount of injection we've put into the long-term health and stability and future of our province by way of infrastructure, and the jobs that it created is something for me that will always stand the test of time. I'm so proud when I drive back and forth between here and the Bay to see the twinning happening on the 104. That's going to save a lot of people's lives. Believe me, seeing it as a driver and knowing the stories firsthand from my time in transportation, that's a great thing, and that's one of many examples what we're doing here on the peninsula and for the entire region with our hospital and infrastructure investments. It's just incredible. The way we've by getting the fiscal house in order, the way we've supported so many social programs, our impact on those who need government support by things that people don't think of, like the tax breaks for particular income levels, things of that nature. And again, as I referenced, the Home for Colored Children, the organ donation legislation and regime that we changed. Those things, you don't have to get credit for it or take credit for it. They're just things that help people and make people's lives better, in some instances save lives, and they're the things I'm the most proud of. On a personal note, and I guess directly to home, as I said, Glace Bay is in a better place than it was when I started, and I was respectful of the pressures on the fiscal purse of the province, but every time I've looked for something, Stephen, Karen, and our cabinet and treasury board were there, and Glace Bay had some challenges in terms of infrastructure and facilities for social programming and for the hospital, of course, and our schools, and it looks great now. And there's lots of other issues that we have to solve, and it's not perfect there, but we left our mark. And the biggest complaint I got this summer was no matter what exit you took leaving Glace Bay, you had to wait in a traffic stop because the roads are being rebuilt. That's not a bad day. So I'm just proud overall that I was part of a government that took things on head first, that never shied away from doing the dirty work. We didn't talk in anecdotes or talk in high level political speak. We got the work done, and the boss led that, and we followed along, and I really believe our province is better for it. So I'm just proud overall to be part of this, and as I said, if my legacy for my kids and my family is that I was one of the impactful ministers for Stephen, then that's about as good as it gets for me.
Carla, do you have a follow-up?
I do not. Thank you, Minister.
That we have for Minister McClellan. Thank you, Minister, and good luck.
Thank you.
The Honourable Stephen McNeill will join us in just a moment.